We're in Chicopee, Massachusetts this evening, and we're in the Saint Stanislaus Cemetery, pointing out more features. And you should look at all the videos for this cemetery. There's so much to see that I've pointed out so much along the way. This is the non-baptized section. So when a person has not been baptized by a Roman Catholic Church, they want to be buried in a Catholic cemetery, they have to go into the non-baptized section. It includes both adults and children, mostly children probably, and they put them in order, and a lot of children died, and the cemetery started in May of 1924. The first burial was probably right here. The first 5 burials in the cemetery, 4 of them were children, 3 of them were extremely young. I doubt any of them were baptized, and they would have been buried right here. So if you want to know where the first burial in Saint Stanislaus is, probably right there. Probably the second one right there. The next one was a child that lived a little bit longer, 1 year, so she was probably baptized. I'm sorry, he. And then there was an adult, so he's not buried here. But the 5th burial is a young child. I think it was stillborn, is buried right here. And it kept going on and on. If you look at 1924 Chicopee death records, on and on, with the same death of children constantly. More children dying than adults, especially in the Polish religion, Polish ethnicity. The reason why, they had just come over from Poland, and their nutritional levels weren't the highest level possible. They're having lots of kids still, and you just have to. Now, we're going to walk the baby section first, and look, there are no stones. No stones. No stones. No stones. You can tell Genevieve Kula, born 1925, died the same year, August 7th, 1925. She's the first with a stone. This is not a modern stone. I'm sorry, this is a modern stone put in much later. Now, the cemetery had been here for 15 months already, and you could have probably fit in that space here maybe 20 babies. So she's the first one that ended up getting a stone, but even hers is modern, right? But there's that many babies dying, and now you go up here, you see another modern stone, and finally you meet the first one that is not modern, Ludwig Sheikha, 1925. So he's the first one with an old stone put in place at the time of death. He was probably died very soon after his birth, and the parents had enough money to put a stone up for him. And it keeps going up, either no stone or a modern stone, up until 1926, when you see another one, Stasio Picula. All right, and it keeps going in this way. Now you might ask, okay, so it goes on and on like this. What a situation. But every ethnicity had to suffer through this when they came to the United States. They were stuffed into these little towns. So many diseases went rampant because the people were so crowded together, and this would happen. You might ask, why weren't these children being baptized? For instance, this child here was 5 weeks old, Francis Dubrovsky, and you have to remember, a lot of these parents, they were so busy doing their job 6 days a week, probably 60 hours a week, that they really didn't have the opportunity yet. And until you can produce that baptism record, they're not going to let you be buried in a cemetery. Okay, this one died 8 days after. So it goes on and on, upwards and upwards. And it keeps going. We'll sweep up from this point to this very end. At the end, we see more stones. That one says 1930. So in the space of 6 years, they filled up babies the street backwards. They filled up babies, and I would guess that there are about 100 children at one line. Okay, now we're going to talk about the back row. Now the back row is the same thing, but the stones are larger, and they contain adults, or they contain children that are past the age of childhood. Because their bodies were bigger, they needed more space to fit them in, and so they had to take the typical 7 feet, where the babies were two or 2.5 feet. Okay, and the stones go from 1930 at the end backwards in time to 1924 at the birth of the cemetery grounds themselves. Okay, so what we're looking at right here is the first adult non-baptized section. It says Jan Magruder, John, and he was born 1871, died 1924. Now from this point, it's easy to find because it's flush with the first row in. From this point on, the death dates go now from 1931, the end of 1930, from here they go 1931 onwards to the end, and now it's all children. And they buried the children probably two row. Okay, and so here to the end are children being buried, and I bet you there's 200 children in this section. Right? If the stones seem like they're in order, they're probably placed in order later on so that lawnmowers can get through very easily. And so what we're seeing here is a total of 300 non-baptized children. This is the largest baby section in any Catholic cemetery I've ever seen. I've gone to a lot of cemeteries. Why is it so large here? Well, remember that the Polish had just come over. The same thing happened to the French Canadians, the same thing happened to the Irish. Their children would die at incredible rates, but they were so incredibly poor, and so American society was so poor for these immigrants that they didn't have the chance to put up markers, whereas the Polish were in a society that was with more money from 1924 on to 1960s. One last burial baby here, they had more money around, and so thus they had more ability to get markers. Right? Or else you could go to a French Canadian cemetery or go to an Irish cemetery, and you'd see places where there's 300 burials of children, non-baptized. And they're usually easy to find because they're big empty spaces. Okay, thank you.